cost of prescription drugs by building infrastructure of America in a green way, and in doing so, increasing paychecks, lower health care, bigger paychecks, cleaner government. Not even going to get a vote. Again, public sentiment is everything. President Lincoln, the Senate will certainly be hearing from the public on issues, values really, that have bipartisan support across America. This was our attempt to find our common ground. So many of these issues, whether it's gun safety or violence against women in the rest, rank very high across the board, across party lines. Right now, I'm very proud that on the floor of the House, as a former appropriator, the Appropriations Committee is putting forth legislation that reflects our values to meet the needs of the American people. Already, we've addressed issues like raising the funding for the National Institutes of Health, investing further in early childhood education. We are talking about, and that's in Rosa DeLauro's bill, Health and Human Services and Education and Labor legislation. We heard from Mr. Visclosky on the defense bill. So we're talking about a strong America, strong in our national security, our national defense, and strong in the health and education and well-being of the American people. I would love just to read to you all the provisions of the legislation, but they're there for you to see, and we'll be talking about them, enlarging those issues as to what they mean to the American people. So that is part of our legislate, investigate, litigate agenda. We're doing this, and at the same time, we are honoring our oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. Yesterday, the President gave us once again evidence that he does not know right from wrong. It's a very sad thing that he does not know right from wrong. I believe that he has been involved in a criminal cover-up. I've said that before, and our investigation is demonstrating that. The Mueller report showed obstruction of justice in at least 10, perhaps 11 places. But for the president to be so cavalier, to disregard, to be indifferent to law and any sense of ethics about who we are as a country, to say he would invite foreign intervention further. The intelligence community with great confidence has put forth that the Russians interfered in our election. That's an assault on our democracy. An assault on our democracy. This president says it's a hoax. He takes an oath to protect and defend the Constitution, but I guess it doesn't include him in terms of being to be held accountable to obey the law. So we have a package that we're putting forth in light of the Mueller report, a package of legislation, duty report. If someone comes to you, mandating that campaigns report foreign offers of assistance, it shouldn't even, it's so self-evident as a matter of ethics, but we'll have to codify it, mandating a duty to report for campaigns reporting foreign interventions in our elections, protecting our elections with paper ballot. That's our election security bill that Zoe Lofgren is working on, and she is working with the Senate, hoping to have bipartisan support in the House for our legislation to protect our electoral system. Closing foreign money loopholes, that's Mr. Sarbanes' bill post the Mueller report. And Mr. Thompson will be having a hearing in the Homeland Security Committee about preventing foreign disinformation. That is just a sample of some of the things that will be out there. I believe we're making good progress on oversight. Our chairmen are doing a great job. I'm so proud of them. They're winning in the courts and winning documents from the Justice Department with the thought of contempt or following up on subpoenas. And we're going to get the truth for the American people so that they can know what the attack is on our country, what the president refused to do about it, and what he engaged in to cover up what was done. There's so many things happening. I just want to refer to one thing in Hong Kong. As many of you know, or some of you do anyway, the issue of China has been an important one for me since Tiananmen Square, even before, but in terms of public policy here in the Congress in Tiananmen Square. And on June 4th, we celebrated the 30th anniversary of the massacre in Tiananmen Square. At the same time, we're observing that the Chinese government is engaged in arresting millions of Uyghurs and putting them into education camps, that they're diminishing the democracy in Hong Kong, trying to really just eliminate the culture, the language, the religion in Tibet. The list goes on and on. But right now, currently, as we gather here in Hong Kong, as you know, in the last few days, hundreds of thousands, if not 1 million people gathered in the street to protest an extradition law that the Chinese government wants the Hong Kong government to pass. It's such a horribly dangerous piece of legislation. I'm very pleased to be supporting legislation that Senator Marco Rubio and Chris Smith on the Republican side, Jim McGovern and I on our side, and others are putting forth to improve and modernize the Hong Kong U.S. Relations Act, U.S.-Hong Kong Relations Act, and that I think is going to be submitted today. They're just finalizing it, perhaps being submitted today. But this is so wrong, and I do hope that the president will speak about human rights in China and freedoms in China when he talks about trade with the Chinese. I am pleased with Secretary Pompeo's statement on what's happening in China now in this regard. With that, I'll take any questions.
Madam Speaker.
Yes, you always hit right there, so Nancy gets it.
When it comes to this issue of opposition research, what would you do if a House Democrat accepted campaign assistance from a foreign power?
Well, we're saying it's against the law. It's so against any sense of decency. But let me give you an example. Perhaps you don't know this, or maybe you do, but to remind. In 2000, when the race was between Senator Gore and Governor Bush, Tom Downey, former member of Congress, close friend of Al Gore, was playing George Bush in the debate prep. And somebody threw over the transom or under the door, whatever place it came, the plans for the Bush campaign in the debates. They just got that to Tom Downey. He picked it up and sent it to the FBI. This isn't even foreign governments. That's what you do. There is a sense of decency about fruit from the forbidden tree, ill-gotten gain, about how then Governor Bush would have conducted that debate. This is so, and just by dint of your question, with all due respect, you make it sound as if it could be a common thing. It is not. And what the president said last night shows clearly, once again, over and over again, that he does not know the difference between right and wrong. And that's probably the nicest thing I can say about him. Because if he doesn't know the difference, it could explain some of his ridiculous behavior. And now to invite further involvement of foreign governments into our election. There was an assault on our democracy, an assault on our country by the Russians. That has been clearly documented by the intelligence community. And the President of the United States, instead of coming to the defense of our democracy, has said it's a hoax. This is beyond, it's really, there is no sense of what's the word I wanted to find? Any ethical sense that informs his comments and his thinking. Yes,
Speaker Pelosi.
yeah.
I want to make sure we understand what you're saying, because you're going to be pushing for legislation here. Are you saying, is it clear now whether this is illegal, whether it's wrong? Is it illegal to take this kind of information? And in addition, one of your members at least is saying that this is impeachable, this attitude by the president. Do
There is in the law that you cannot accept contributions, and that includes in kind, from a foreign, your campaign cannot, from a foreign government. That is in the law. But if it needs more clarity, then we will go the duty to report. That's not that only you don't accept it, but you report it to the FBI, because it's an invasion of our democracy. So I don't have the language right here, but there is language in the law that prohibits any contribution. And again, contribution is in-kind information or whatever that is. But we want to make sure that it has more clarity and carries a responsibility to report.
Speaker Pelosi.
Patty.
Madam Speaker, if you discovered, we're already in campaign season. If you discovered that this president in the course of the 2020 campaign accepted help from a foreign government as he suggested that he might, would you consider that grounds to launch impeachment proceedings?
It has nothing to do with any campaign. I want you to all to understand that. As we go down this path to seek the truth for the American people and to hold the president accountable, it has nothing to do with politics or any campaigns. It has everything to do, if I may, answer your question, it has everything to do with patriotism, not partisanship. So as we collect the facts, and it takes time because you have to do your research, make your request. If you go to court, you have to do the accommodation. You know what that is? It takes time to prove that you have tried to resolve the issue, and that takes time, and that's the path that we will be on. And it encompasses any and all of the comments that the president has made.
Speaker Pelosi, why, just to clarify though, why
It's
is...
all women in the front here. I'm so excited about that.
Except for chat. But Speaker Pelosi, why, if the president is inviting foreign interference, why is that